Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jane. So this video I'm going to be showing us how to sew a shirt with a collar and a cuff, and also the trouser as well. I did a video on how to draft the shirt pattern. If you're yet to see that, the link will be in the comment section. Thank you for supporting this channel. I'll see you guys in my next one. Please ensure to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. So let's jump straight into the video. Now, this is the pattern for the shirt. I have cut it out on my fabric. So for you to cut this pattern on your fabric, you need to place the pattern on top of your fabric and you're going to be cutting out. So for you to cut this, just place this pattern on the fabric and cut out the exact shape. Alright, so I've cut out the back. I used my pins to hold it down, the pattern paper on the fabric. I used it to hold it down, pins to hold it down. Then I went on to cut out the exact shape that I have on my pattern. So I've cut out the front and the back. Now for the cuff of the sleeve, I've cut out 4 pairs, 2 for each sleeve, 2 pairs for each sleeve, one as the main and the other one will be as an interfacing or a cover. Now this is the collar stand and the collar band. I have this also detailed in the pattern drafting. You can go watch it. So this is what it looks like. I've fused it with interfacing. Now for the trouser pattern, I have this already on my pattern on my channel. If you have not seen a video on how to draft a pants trouser, I'm going to leave the link in the description box. So this is the pattern that I'm going to be using for the trouser. This is what it looks like. I will also place this pattern on the fabric and I will go ahead and cut it out. So it's very easy. Once you have your patterns ready, you can just go ahead, place on your fabric and cut out. So here it is. I have cut out the front panel, and what I did again was to cut out the dart. So this trouser is not going to have a dart. I took out the dart for the trouser. So that is the front and this is the back. Also for the sleeve, I have also cut out my sleeve as well. Place your pattern paper on your fabric and go on to cut out the sleeve. All right, now we have all of those pieces. We are going to move on to joining all of them together. So the first thing we're going to do is to join the front. We are going to stitch down the plackets for the button extension. So going by the extension we have in front for the shirt, I went on to fold it in, iron it out, use the pins to secure it down, take it to the sewing machine, and I'm going to stitch it down. I'll do this for both sides of the shirt pattern. I went on to stitch it down, and this is what it looks like in front after stitching the both sides. Now after stitching, you're going to now join the front and back together at the shoulder line. So I'm going to place the shoulder, the front and the back at the shoulder line, right sides together, and I'm going to stitch. After stitching, this is what it should look like, you can see. And I also went on to iron the seam allowances at the shoulder area. Now onto the collar. So I've ironed an interfacing on my collar band, on my collar stand, and you know we have 2 pieces. One is going to be used to cover up the interfacing. So what I'm doing here is to place them together, right sides facing each other. Then I'm going to go stitch by 1/2 of an inch. So if you notice on my collar stand, I ironed interfacing 1/2 inch away from the end of the fabric. So this way you're just going to go stitch the allowances you have at the border. So I have, after stitching, this is what it looks like. Now for the band, I also ironed an interfacing on the band as well. So after you've stitched the collar stand, you're going to now place the band on the collar stand, and you're going to be joining these 2 pieces together. So what you need to do is to get the midpoint. So right now I'm actually locating the midpoint. I've used my pins to hold it down. I'll take the second part of the collar band, place it on top of the collar stand. Now you need to get the midpoint. If you don't get the midpoint, your collar might end up not coming out straight, or you might be shifting. Okay, so I've notched the midpoint, then I placed it on top of the collar. Okay, place it on top of the collar, ensure that they match each other. So just go ahead and place it the same way that I'm placing mine on the video. Okay, after you've done this, you can use your pins to hold it down just so that it doesn't move around. So just ensure that you catch these three pieces together. So when you take to the sewing machine, you're going to join them together. So you're going to be stitching from one end to the other. Okay, so this is what we are going to be doing now for the collar. So I'm going to go take it now to the sewing machine, and I'm going to stitch by 1/2 inch from one edge to the other edge. All right, take it to the sewing machine, stitch from one edge to the other edge. After stitching, you take it to the iron and iron it out. This is what the collar should look like when you're done attaching. Now we're going to attach the collar to the shirt. So as I said, you get the midpoint. You see already on my fabric at the back, you can see I have a crease line there. So after preparing the collar, so you take the collar, place it on the midpoint, take the midpoint of the collar and the midpoint of the shirt, place each of them together, and then you're going to go attach the collar to the shirt properly. So after attaching, this is what my collar looks like. I have a video on how to do a collar, how to sew a collar, so I'm going to also attach that in this video. So after that is done, we're going to move on to the sleeve. So this is what my sleeve looks like. Here I have marked out the placket, the length of the placket. I've marked out the length of the placket, and I've drawn out my diagonal lines on the placket. Note that this placket will always falls at the back of the sleeve. So after marking out the lines, I went on to slash the lines open. Okay, slash the lines open, and also I went on to also slash the diagonal lines. Ensure that when you are slashing, you do not slash up to the end of the line. Okay, so that's what I have done here. I've slashed the line open on my placket. Ensure that you don't slash all the way to the end. So after slashing, I'm going to go stitch the placket onto the sleeve. Now for you to stitch the placket onto the sleeve, this is what I have here. I have this strip of fabric in the length of 13 inches. Okay, I have it in the length of 13 inches, and I have it in the width of 3 inches. So I folded in both sides. You can see what it looks like. I folded in both sides. After folding in both sides, then I went on to fold it again to conceal the edges inside. So this is what your strip should look like. Just fold the both ends together and then fold it in. Now you are going to take this strip and you are going to feed it into the line we just cut out now, into the line of the sleeve we just cut out. Okay, so just feed it into it, and you're going to arrange this properly. So here I'm going to use a pin to hold it down so it doesn't move around. When I take it to the machine, I'm going to go and stitch. So you see the line that we opened. As you feed the line you have just opened on your sleeve into the strip, just go on and stitch it all the way down to the end of the opening. That way, after you're done, you can now fold it in and stitch on top of it. That way you have created the placket for the sleeve. Also, I have a video on how to do a placket, how to sew, draft and sew a placket. I'm going to also leave that in the description box. So after stitching up the placket, this is what it looks like on the sleeve. It's looking really neat and beautiful. Okay, so I've done this for the second sleeve as well. So now I'm going to work on the cuff. Now I'm going to take one pair of the cuff, and I'm going to go stitch it down. You can see that I ironed an interfacing on the cuff, and I also folded in the edge at the top. So now I'm going to go stitch by 1/2 inch all around the placket, all around the cuff except for the top. Okay, I'm going to stitch close the cuff and then leave the top. Now after stitching the cuff, After I've stitched off the cuff, I'm going to just go on to turn it inside out and then iron it out. Okay, so you need to do this. So I'll just take this now, go on to turn it inside out. After turning it inside out, I will go on to iron it out. So you need to do this so that it will stay flat and relaxed for you to be able to attach to your sleeve. Now that that is done, the next thing you can see that I closed one side of my sleeve. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to take the cuff and I'm going to stitch it down. I'm going to stitch the sleeve down on the cuff. So you see that the cuff is open. One side of the cuff is folded in by 1/2 inch, while the other side is not folded. So the side that is folded in by 1/2 inch is the side that I have the interfacing ironed on. So the part where there is no interfacing on is where I'm going to stitch on the cuff on the sleeve. So just watch carefully as I join the sleeve to the cuff. I'm going to use pins to hold it down. All right, now you notice that there's going to be excess after you've pinned down the sides and everywhere. You are going to see excess fabric on the sleeve. So what you're going to do is to pleat that excess, and that excess you're going to pleat it towards the back of the sleeve. Okay, so pleat the excess that you have on your sleeve towards the back of the sleeve. All right, so here I'm still going on to hold down with pins. I'm still holding down with pins. Okay, after holding down with pins, I told you there's going to be excess, and this excess you're going to be pleating it down. Just ensure that the pleated excess is towards the back side of your sleeve. All right, so guys, after that is done, after I have pleated and held them down with pins, I'm going to go ahead now and stitch it down by 1/2 inch. So just go on, stitch it down by 1/2 inch, and then after stitching down by 1/2 inch, you're going to do a top stitch to close the sleeve. So go take this now, stitch down by 1/2 inch, and then take it to the sewing machine, sew, and you're going to do a top stitch. So now that we are done stitching down the cuff, this is what your sleeve should look like. When you're done attaching the placket and the cuff, this is what it looks like. You can see that I didn't stitch my sleeve all the way to the top. Now the next thing to do is to attach the body to the sleeve. So to do this, what I have done here is to open up the shirt at the shoulder line. You can see I ironed my seam flat at the shoulder. So open up the shirt at the shoulder line, get the midpoint of your sleeve, and you're going to be aligning these 2 points together. So go ahead and align the sleeve head and the shoulder line at the sleeve head. Then you're going to align the sides as well, pin down the sides from the front to the back, then take to the sewing machine and stitch by 1/2 inch. Okay, go ahead and stitch this by 1/2 inch. After stitching, the next thing we're going to do is to close off the sleeve and the side seam of the shirt. So you're going to get the midpoint of that underarm. So where your armhole meets the shirt and the sleeve, you're going to align those 2 points together. Then you're going to run a stitch all the way from the sleeve down to the side seam of your shirt. So I will do this for the first side, for the right side, and also for the left side. So now that I'm done joining the sleeve to the shirt, this is what it looks like. I hope you guys can see the beauty of the shirt. Sorry, my camera is not that bright for you to see how awesome this looks, but if you can see it clearly, this is really looking beautiful. The next step here is to attach your button and your buttonhole. So just take this to your buttonhole. Go ahead and do the button and the buttonhole. Now this is the trouser for the two-piece. I have stitched the sides and the inner leg of the trouser, so there is no pocket on this trouser. This is just your basic trouser. Once you have a pattern of the trouser you want to use, all you need to do is to just stitch the front and the back by the sides, stitch the inseam, stitch the crotch, and that will be all. I also went on to attach my waistband to it. You can see the waistband, and also the zipper is by the side. Nothing too serious on the trouser. Okay, so this is what it looks like. It looks really beautiful. And also I have hemmed the lower part as well. Alright guys, this is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give me a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Stay blessed. Bye.